This program is funded by the European Union.
To our audience worldwide, good evening and welcome to GCCI Business Matters. I am Malik M. Jallo. Economic growth and economic development is driven by key fundamental factors of production, their distribution, and their utilization. For a developing country like the Gambia, capital and labor are indispensable to help accelerate economic development and growth, as well as creating employment. To help us understand or joining us in today's conversation to talk about the Gambia's labor market and its environment, the laws and acts that clearly spells out the rights of the employee, the rights of the employer, dispute resolutions, and all other issues related to the labor market. We have the Commissioner of the Labor Department, and that is Mr. Nyalo Barrow. Mr. Barrow, welcome to GCCI Business Matters.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great. So, Mr. Barrow, can you please first give us a personal introduction of you and tell us or give us another introduction of the Department of Labor, what they're engaged in?
Thank you very much, Mark. As you rightly said, I am Nyalo Barrow, the Commissioner of Labor from the Department of Labor, the head of the department. The Commissioner of Labor, the Department of Labor is under the Ministry of Trade, Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment. That's why we come from. As you rightly said, the functions of the department, in fact, is divided into three. We have divided into 3 units, and each of these units functions like that. One of the units we call it as the public employment services. They deal with employment issues, registration of job seekers, career counseling of job seekers. We call it also placement, where we have vacancies, we place them. Like we get the vacancies from the employers, and then those who are registered have the requirement, then we send them to the employer for placement. Mm-hmm. So, and they also do issues regarding migration, that's unit, and many other things. But these are core functions they will do. And we also have one we call the inspections and occupational safety and health. These inspection units, they are all headed by a principal labor officer. And this inspection and occupational safety and health units, they are the one also dealing with injuries compensation, like those who have an accident at workplaces, and the accident is reported to the Department of Labor. We make certain documentation, like we request for certain documentations. Under those documentations, then they received, they make the computations of those compensation and send it to Social Security to pay. We work with Social Security. We administer the act, they administer the fund. So any such accident, the moment is in the course of employment. It's not all the accident. Any accident that is in the course of employment will be taken care of. Either you are at workplaces, or you are on your way home, or on your way to the office. Those are all covered under this unit takes care of those things. And the inspection of workplaces, that is what we call the compliance units of the department. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see, this is where the problem is. In fact, where people will complain about this is happening in my workplaces, labor did not come here, or this is happening there, this is happening there. So those inspectors, when they go around, they check on the terms and conditions of employment in that particular institutions. Yeah, and they get the information, and in fact, at the same spot they will make recommendations. Where they found to be anomaly, then they will just make a recommendation to the employer, and ask the employer to act upon those recommendations. And after some time, they will go back there to check on whether they comply. Yeah.
You make a very important point. There's something that so is it only overseeing public employment or also corporate employment, the Labor Department? The issues that you just mentioned, is the Labor Department only interested, or is only having oversee or have the authority to oversee issues that arise from the public employment sector, or also from corporate?
Yeah, yeah, including all of them. Yes, yes.
All of them.
Like the Q group can always feed us information concerning their vacancies.
Okay.
Then when we have those vacancies, while we have other people who are already registered, then among those, you just check the qualification and experience you requested for. Then based on those informations, then we send the right candidates for interview.
So I will come back to that so that it's a little bit clear, because today it's the first day I'm hearing this.
Yes.
So let's say I am seeking job, I'm looking for employment.
Yes.
And I have my qualifications and documents, so I can go to the labor department.
Yes.
And register with them.
Exactly.
That I am seeking for employment.
Yes.
And leave my documents and everything there. So labor will match my qualification with a request that comes from either corporate or public sector.
Exactly.
That registers with them that they advertise vacancies with them, and labor can match these two.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Exactly. That's how they work.
Wow, that is something that I'm just learning right now.
Yes, exactly. This service is available there. In fact, we have a job center in the department. There's a part of the department where you have a job center. So this job center, these are some of the activities they do. Periodically we receive vacancies from the employers. Then those vacancies, when we have a number of or list of job seekers that we have registered with their qualifications, experience, and whatever. So if the employer send us a notice that they need certain workers, then we just check on the records. And then they will send them the right candidates. Because
naturally or normally what happens is sometimes even private sectors don't even make public of their vacancies in the private sector, not the public sector.
Yeah.
So sometimes people just randomly apply directly to the HR departments of the institutions, and then that's what people know. So do you have a lot of people coming to that department or unit trying to seek? Are people aware of this, or is only the awareness is not that much?
Yeah, many people know. You will not know until when we advertise a vacancy. Sometimes I can remember we have a project on occupational safety and health, and this is another project funded by the Japanese government. Yeah, labor intensive. And when we advertise vacancies, we see that a lot of people came. Just for 150 vacancies, but we have more than 1,000 to 2,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah. So they know about it, but the thing is, what we are not receiving frequently, that's the vacancies from the employers. Yes, I want them to understand that this service is available. In fact, this is their show. This service is available. They can always feed this unit with those informations, vacancies. Then they will get the right candidates.
So do they have to pay?
They don't have
private
to pay.
sector don't have. They
No,
don't have to pay.
but nothing is paid.
So they just communicate.
Yeah.
I think this is an opportunity for a lot of people to be aware of this.
Yes.
Because for me, I'll be honest, I've never been aware of this. And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there like me, as job seekers who are not aware of this, and probably there are also employers who may not be or who we are not aware of this, because that will also help them reduce pressure at their offices and other things that they engage in. So with the injury that you mentioned that people incur during work, for instance, and you said if it is proven that indeed the injury occurred while you're on executing your duties on the job, so you come in and help that to make sure that there's refund or something like that. But I want to know, is it only on the private sector or on the public sector too, or does the person have to be registered with you guys for that as an employed individual or not?
In fact, injuries covered everybody.
Okay.
Both government, the private sector. Yeah. And the only issue we have now is the domestic servants.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think there's a study going on that matter. Yeah, injuries. everybody registered with Social Security. Your employer has the responsibility to register you with the Social Security Injuries Compensation Fund. And at the moment you are registered, of course, any accident that happened, as I told you how the accident happened, not at home, but on your way to home, to office, or from office to home, or at the office. When accident happens, they are covered. Everybody, including even the military, they are compensated. Yeah, when there's an accident. Yeah, everybody is covered.
That's
Yeah.
great. I think that's important information that a lot of people are not aware. So let's move a little bit further. Let's talk about contracts, employment contracts, the types of employment contracts as per the labor laws and acts and all that concerns the labor regulations.
Yeah, to conclude, I've talked about 2 units.
Yes, exactly.
There's another one called the industrial relations.
Exactly.
This unit handles labor disputes. When you have a labor dispute at the workplaces, the employee has, or the employer has the responsibility to report the matter to the Department of Labor. Then we look into the case. Yeah, we have an advisory service. Like the moment you register a case, then the advisory service will look at the case and see whether you have a genuine case. You cannot just go in for handling dispute when we know somebody has not even have a genuine case. So when we realize that then this case can be heard, then there will be a procedure. There's a procedure that you follow. Then there's a form that they fill, then submit it to the officers. Then the employer will be contacted. Or if it is an employee, the employee will be contacted. Then there will be what we call the tripartite meeting between the Department of Labor, the employee, and that of the employer, and try to settle the matter amicably.
So what type of disputes are we talking about here?
Yeah, labor dispute at workplaces. Some people talk about termination of employment, dismissal, or any disputes at least you have with your employer, and you think you need mediation to settle that matter. It can be reported to the Department of Labor. So this mediation, Department of Labor do mediations. Sometimes people think we have certain powers that we do not have. We do not have the judicial powers. But the mediation, we just do this mediation in order to settle cases amicably. If the cases are unable to, we are unable to settle the cases at our level, that's what we call the industrial tribunal. We have 6 industrial tribunals across the country. We have one in Kanifing here, around Kotu. We have one in Brikama, around Jamis Kitty Highway. We have one in Bashe. We have one in Bansang. We have one in Kerawan, and we have one in Mansakonko. These are all available for workers or employers who feel that their cases have not been like what they were obtaining from, trying to obtain from that mediation. They are not agreeable to that. Like they did not agree to the mediation.
Like it's not, they are not satisfied.
They are not satisfied with the outcome of the mediations.
Okay.
They can take the matter to these tribunals, any of these industrial tribunals, depending on where the case was, the jurisdiction. Like if it is within here in KMC, you can always take the matter to the court.
So I will reiterate what you have just said, just to make it clear to the audience that the Labor Department does not have judicial powers. Now what you do is mediation, try to, like you mentioned, amicably solve a dispute between an employer and an employee.
Yes.
And in the scenario, in a situation where either of them is unsatisfied with the outcome and want to pursue it further, then you have the industrial tribunal where they can go and pursue.
Exactly.
I think that should be clear too.
That is clear,
yeah, so that people don't have a misconception about this. Where does industrial unions, trade unions come into this? If you look over the period, you realize that living standards are rising, costs, inflation, due to a lot of factors, and you realize that employers also will be complaining about cost of inputs to produce goods and services, that is driving prices, some of it which is imported, and there are also high complaints about taxation, but is there anywhere in the Labor Act or in the functions of Labor Department to look at the wages that employees gain from their employers, either through their contract, or is there any authority to say, look, situations have changed economically, you know, employers should bid up the game a little bit in terms of wages for their employees, or and also does employees have the right to participate in trade unions to also increase their bargaining power in terms of wages? Where does it fall, all this together?
In fact, you talk about the trade unions organizations. These trade unions are very important in industrial relations. You know, the trade unions are the workers coming together to form a union to push through their own interest. You see, it's very important. We normally work with the trade union. That's why, in fact, when you have a dispute with your employer, the first place to go is your trade union, the union that you belongs to. Yeah, that doesn't mean that you cannot come to Labor Department. You can still come to Labor Department, but you start with your trade union. Sometimes the trade union settle matters before even they come to Labor. So where the trade union fail to settle the matter, you can always register the matter, this case to the Department of Labor. Then we look into this case, trying to pursue and settle it. In fact, as I say, if it's not settled, that union can take the matter to the industrial tribunal. So they are very important. They have the bargaining powers also. They can always make agreements with employers on terms and conditions of employment, and it becomes binding. Yeah, that's what we call it, collective agreements, collective bargaining. Then you have the collective agreement. So it becomes binding when they have such agreement with the employer for a period. Sometimes they can go for 3 years, and that agreement become binding on the both sides, both the employees and the employers. So they are very important in the industrial relations. Yeah, they can also negotiate wages. Yeah, because what we normally have is the minimum wage. That one is still pending because negotiation started a long time ago, and that is still pending. This minimum wage is normally made by the Joint Industrial Council. We call it Joint Industrial Councils. This Joint Industrial Council is made of the employers, the workers, and maybe government and the other independent members. They discussed and agreed on the minimum wage. And the moment they agree on it, then they will send it to the employer. They will send it to the Honorable Minister for gazetting, and it becomes binding. So union play a role in all those things. Yeah, but that doesn't even stop them. Even we have a minimum wage, it doesn't stop them to bargain for a better pay above the minimum wage. That's what thing they do. That Labor, actually, we don't do that. Yeah.
Oh, so Labor does not do that. That is the so. Does Gambia have trade unions?
You have trade unions here. I think few are strong union, but there are a lot that are not.
Which ones would you call strong? Because really, I'm not aware, and I think a lot of the audience are not aware.
Yeah, normally the trade union that we normally have contacts with, normally that we work with, they come to this department most of the time. Maybe Gambia Workers Union. You have the Gambia Workers Union, then you have the Gambia Labor Union, you have the Gambia Agriculture, Horticulture and General Workers Union. Sometimes you have the Gambia MRC Workers Union.
Okay.
Then also you have Combo Beach Workers Union, and a few of them are active. But when you look at the number of registered unions in this country, and those that are active, actually they are very small.
And also sometimes even the participation of members, registration of members, because a lot of people, you know, would be very hit hard because of the inflation, and if there were really strong unions, I think part of their agenda should be to bargain for, you know, wage repositioning for their members, because if you look at it, inflation has really gone up, the cost of living has really increased over the period, but you have wages stagnant over a long period of time without any adjustment. So I am not really aware of those unions, and it's good that you mentioned some of them here. And I think you know, employees in those sectors that are under the umbrella of that union should really increase their participation and drive their interest, because like you said, it empowers their collective bargaining and ability to advance certain interests of the on behalf of employees. So okay, let's move further.
And the other one, as I said, for inspections, labor do the routine inspections. From time to time we do our routine inspections. Sometimes we do inspections when we get informations, like we get an information from social media, we get information from the papers, we get information from individuals. So people just come and just give us information. We don't need to know your name. All what is important is the information. But there are people, in fact, recently, I don't know whether you in fact had it, somebody is going on viral and trying to say they have sent us an information about certain workplaces and they submitted a letter to us, which I cannot remember myself, because he said they have given a letter to the commissioner for certain information about certain workplaces. Normally, when you bring a letter, you take it to the records. We have a record office. You take it to the records. The records will just take note of that letter, put it in the folder. Then that folder is submitted to the commissioner. It's where the commissioner acts on the letters. Then they will minute it to the action officers. So those action officers, like that particular one, can be sent to the inspectors unit. Then they go and do the inspections. But to go around in the social media saying things about us when you could not confirm what has happened, then it's just unfortunate. So I'm trying to advise people, when you send an information to the department, if you want to know about it, just follow it up. And the one you give letter to bring, it can come to the department. If it is about inspection of the place, then he will be referred to the inspectors unit. They will check on their record whether that particular place has been inspected. Sometimes they make noise about certain places when those places have already been inspected. Because when we do the inspections, we make recommendations. At the end of the day, that recommendation is signed by the employer and that our officer representing the commissioner.
Yes. We will continue from there. I forgot to inform the audience that this is going to be a 2-session discussion. So we are almost at the end of the first session, but this conversation will continue, and until we come your way next week. This was GCCI Business Matters. I am Malik M. Jallo.
This program was funded by the European Union.